from the airport. And I don't know, Sarah, if you wanted to say something, or Kelly, I know is going to be talking a little bit about, we just want to walk people through when you land and then exit the airport. Sometimes in those transition moments, you can feel kind of, um, just sort of discombobulated. I will say that the Athens airport is not real big. Think like John Wayne or Indianapolis size. It's not Houston Bush. It's not O'Hare. It's, thank heavens, it's not LAX. So it's not difficult to go, to maneuver around. Sarah, did you want to say anything? And then Kelly can hop in with that.
Yes, sure. So we have arranged a group coach transfer from the airport to the hotel based on the most common arrival time. So some of you will be included in that transfer, some of you will not, just based on when you arrive. If you are included in that transfer, after you'll go through customs where they, stamp your passport, and then you'll go through to the baggage claim. And after you collect your baggage, there's a door to exit out to the arrivals hall, and a driver and your local representative will meet you out there with a sign that has the CWL logo, so you can find them very easily. I was actually in Greece a couple weeks ago, and there were tons of people with signs, so it's very easy to spot your person. And then they will take you to a bus that will take you to the hotel. If you are not included in that transfer, which you will, I don't know if Kelly sent out the list yet, but you will know very soon who's included. If you're not included in that transfer, then you are responsible for your own transportation from the airport to the hotel. There's a multiple ways. Probably the easiest way is to call an Uber. We use them a lot in Greece, in Athens, and they were very easy. So that's probably what I would suggest, but you could also do a taxi, or you could do public transportation. So either one, any of those are great options. And then when you get to the hotel, you will check in the reservations under your name, but also CWL. So you shouldn't have any problem, getting your booking when you get there. Kelly, did you want to add anything that I'm forgetting?
Well, the information you're going to get from me is I'll group you based upon when you're going to be arriving, and we're going to do it in reverse for departures. Okay, so the same process holds for the departures on the other end. But I want people to know who to look for at the airport right about the same time. So my email will give you some information about, like, oh, look, so and so just landed at the same time I did.
And we have our WhatsApp, which Kelly has indicated that would also be important for you all, so you can communicate real easy if anything, comes up. I'm praying against any lost luggage. But you know what, if it happens, and we've been on trips before where that's happened, it's just an opportunity to buy new clothes. And I think, okay, you know what? When opportunity knocks, you answer the door. So, yeah, exactly. That's right, Giselle. It's like, hey, free shopping. So anyway, we will always, there's, so leading to that, of course, and Kelly has listed this in the handouts that you have. Please, stuff that you really do need, like meds, make sure that they're on your person, that they're part of the carry-on. Yeah. Yeah. So
Lynn, if I have just a few seconds to
yeah,
talk,
please.
like if some sort of issue comes up, like losing luggage, you guys have a lot of support while you're on the ground. Obviously, you have Lynn and George and Kelly there with you. You will have a guide, you will have a tour director. But World Strides also has a 24/7 World Assist line, and that phone number will be listed in the app that you receive. It's manned by people in Washington, D.C., and they are trained to help if anything like this happens. With lost luggage, that's usually up to the airline, but they can help, make that connection for you. They can help you if you lose your passport and need to find an embassy to get, or need to find the embassy to get a new passport, or if you get sick or anything like that. They are trained and ready to help you if something does come up. And then another thing I'll mention similarly is, and Kelly, just interrupt me if you were going to touch on this, but included in your program fees is insurance for while you are health insurance for while you are traveling. So if you get sick or you break your leg or something like that and need to see a doctor, you are covered. It is reimbursement insurance. So you will need to pay out of pocket, collect all your receipts, and then there will be a website in the World Strides app that you can go to fill out a claim when you get home, usually, or when you get back from the hospital to be reimbursed. And then similarly, World Strides has a partnership with George Washington University's Emergency Medicine Department. If you're traveling and you want to speak to a mental health, or sorry, excuse me, if you want to speak to an ER doctor, get like a second opinion, you can call that World Assist 24/7 line that I mentioned, and they'll connect you with an ER doctor. It is completely free. So I find that a lot of people will do that before they actually go to a hospital just to save some money. And similarly, we have a mental health assistance hotline. Same idea if you want to speak to a mental health professional while you're traveling, you can call that line and they'll connect you with a therapist, again, free of cost. I think that's everything from me, but I'm here and I'll answer any questions that come up as we continue to talk.
Awesome, thank you. Kelly, did you want to walk through? Is that where I know we looked at the agenda and I don't have it in front of me, so do you want to walk through your handouts or?
I do. Noting the time. Yes, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so can everybody see my screen?
We can.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to go through this really quickly because y'all already know that we're doing really fun things, but this is one of the attachments that I just sent you, okay? What I want to do is to highlight for you how to pack strategically for this particular itinerary. That is this. On the first day on Thursday, we do our long overhaul flight. And on that flight, you're going to get up and you're going to walk around on the plane and you're going to stay hydrated because it does a lot of good for your body to arrive hydrated. Okay. The first day we're together is in Athens, and we are going to gather in the hotel lobby at 6 p.m. We're all going to be getting to Athens at various times, but as a group, we know that we're going to be in the hotel lobby at 6 p.m. The next day, George is going to lead us on a walking tour in Athens, but that evening we take a small flight to northern Greece to Kavala. So this is going to be the first of two small flights that we do within the trip itself. So I want you to just to keep that in mind when you actually pack your bags, that you're going to have these two flights in the midst of travel. Okay. So we're starting in the north. From there, we're going to go to, that's when we're going to go to Philippi and the Church of Lydia, and we're going to make our way south, going to Thessaloniki and then to Meteora. In Meteora, we're going to go visit a monastery. At the monastery, women, we need skirts. It can be a long skirt that you throw on over a pair of jeans. That's great. But to go into the monastery in Meteora, we do have to have on a skirt. And no yoga pants anywhere. Like just
Yeah,
anywhere.
and I would also add, because George told me this, Kelly, when I was talking to them on Saturday, that would also be true for churches, which kind of surprised me. I knew for the monastery we would need a skirt, but for the churches as well. And I'm assuming, fellows, you're not going to wear shorts, but let me just say, I don't think you can wear shorts in the churches. And so in Thessaloniki, We hope to be going into one, if not two churches. So, and no sleeveless for women, but I don't think it'll be cold, hot enough for us to be sleeveless. But just throw, an elastic waistband peasant skirt in your book bag that you carry with you during the day so that you can just put that on. We are a photo-free zone when dressed like that. Okay, people? Just let's be clear. All right, carry on, Kelly. Sorry for that.
All right. So after Meteor, we're going to make our way to Delphi. We toured the archaeological site and the archaeological museum. And by this point, we are going to be absolutely in love with Greek salad. And there is no lettuce in Greek salad. So that's a whole thing. It's absolutely most wonderful thing. And then we go back to Athens. We're in Athens for 3 nights in the middle of the trip. And we've been talking about laundry. Sarah has looked up laundry for us across the trip. And in the app, when she invites you to that, she has put a list of laundry within, like, next to the hotels for our entire stay. So the granular details are in the app. But in Athens, because we're at that hotel for 3 nights, there is laundry around us and laundry service at the hotel itself. So that's pretty convenient. And we're going to have restaurants around us. So I'm looking forward to really good food in Athens. Okay, and then from Athens, we take a small flight to Izmir. So it's actually 3 flights that we take in the midst of this trip, because instead of going across the water on a ferry or a cruise, we're going to be doing this quickly. And so we're flying from Athens to Izmir. In Turkey is where we're going to be going to Pergamum and to Ephesus. So, and to Smyrna. Smyrna is actually in Izmir. So those are really exciting sites that we see there, and that is our last. Those are our last tour sites. The last evening, we take a flight back to Athens, spend the night in Athens before we do our long flight. So by doing these flights, we get to go a large distance in a short amount of time, which is why it's efficient. But I do want to make sure that you know that for your packing. Any questions about that? I'm not hearing any questions, so I'll keep going. Okay.
So I have one question.
Yeah, Becky.
Wednesday night, it's a night flight, you said? Evening flight? And we have like a 6 a.m. departure. So how late is that flight in?
We're not going to get in probably, Kelly. I was Becky. I don't know, Kelly, if you're this way, but I was looking and talking with George exactly about this on Saturday. The flights leaving Greece going international tend to leave really early in the morning. With the flight leaving Izmir, it's not going to get in until probably 8. And so until we get through Athens airport and to our hotel. I also asked George, is there a hotel near the airport? And there's not. So it will be, we won't have a long time to sleep in the on that Wednesday night before we fly out, unfortunately. Yeah. Kelly, did you have anything to add with that?
No, that's it. It's a very quick turnaround
Yeah.
when you get to Athens for y'all to get on those early morning flights.
Yeah.
You aren't alone, but there are 3 couples on those 6 o'clock flights. So there's at least 6 or 7 of you going to the airport at the same time.
So we can whine together and complain and
Sleep
Yeah.
on the plane,
there you
basically.
go. Sleep on the plane. That's right. That's the way.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what
So
I,
in the,
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
was there an additional question?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Becky. So within the traveler instructions, there's a recommendation to register with the State Department and instructions. Some information about cash. Greece is the euro, Turkey is the lira. Specific instructions from George about your passport. Not only do you keep your passport on your person, but you need a copy of your passport in 3 places. First, a color copy in your wallet, email a color copy to yourself, and save a picture of it on your phone. Everybody got that? Yes. Okay, very good. You do need an electrical outlet adapter. And so that's on there. Use TSA approved locks for your checked luggage. Do not place electronics in your checked luggage. And again, make sure you have your passport. There's a theme here. There's always a theme. For the flight, make sure that you dress for comfort, to be hydrated, to get as much rest, even if you don't sleep on flights, as you possibly can. The app has instructions. The app has details about the address of hotels in case you need any of that for customs information, and it's also on this document. And those are some of the highlights that I really wanted to show you there and say, please read that. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, third thing that I sent you. There, I tried to do a 1-pager, guys. To please pack well. Now, if you pack everything on this list, it's like everything. Like, I'm not packing every single thing on this list. However, I'm going to consider everything on this list. We should plan on, we should be prepared for wetter weather. So think your shoes, waterproof. What makes you comfortable when it's kind of wet? A poncho, maybe a small umbrella, a little bit colder, so make sure you also take a fleece jacket of some sort, because we want you warm and comfortable, because we are going to be outside when we're touring. And then the most important thing is not only your passport, but all medications. And with medications, please also consider contacts and glasses. Those are things that are unique to you, and they're very hard to replace. Clothing, we can replace. Pepto-Bismol, Tylenol, we can go to the pharmacy. But your contact lenses are much more difficult. And that's my overview. Does y'all have any questions for me?
I have a question. I put in the WhatsApp. I've been looking for an eSIM card. I went to Italy. I can just easily get one. And everything I've looked at covers Greece, but not Turkey. Do I need, how are we? And so with WhatsApp, and we're not in Turkey for real long. I realize that if I stick with a crowd, I won't need internet necessarily, because we'll probably have it in the hotel, right?
Yes.
Yes, all the hotels have Wi-Fi, and I'm your roommate, so I'll take care of you. But I'm not really familiar about eSIM cards to be able to give you more information.
Okay, I can get one for Greece. I just won't have one for, I can't find anything for Turkey that does both.
Ah,
So.
Do you know, Sarah?
I don't. I so frequently have people get just like international plans on their phone, so I don't know about eSIMs.
Well, I could look into an international plan. I just thought, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest if you call your provider, because
Yeah.
all it was a phone call from me and they're like, this is how much it's going to cost and we'll set you up.
and maybe I'll do that. I got an eSIM when I went to Italy with him, but I'll try that then. Thanks.
Once you're set up, I believe with your phone plan, at least with AT&T, which I have, you're always set up. So now anytime I leave the country, if I turn my cellular on, it just charges me like a certain amount every day. And then if I don't have the cellular, I don't get charged.
And that sounds like that would be something we want to do before we leave,
Yeah.
rather than try and do it when you're out over there. So be
Yeah.
thinking about how you'd like to manage that. Other
2 more
questions?
things.
Yeah.
I just sent everybody a message on WhatsApp. If you go to your phone and you don't have a WhatsApp message, it means that you haven't accepted the WhatsApp invitation, and we need to get that fixed. But also, some people in WhatsApp, because you're not a contact in their phone, you're showing up as a phone number and not a name. So if you'll please reply to the WhatsApp and say who you are, that will help the whole group, right? And here's another detail that occurred to me today. We are going to be on a very comfortable chartered bus when we are driving through the countryside, going from place to place. And I want to be very thoughtful if you are motion sensitive. So if you are motion sensitive, if you'd please email me and let me know, I'd appreciate it. And also be real bold. Tell me that you are a motion sensitive, I am in the front row, or if you're like a motion sensitive, I need to be in the first 3 rows. Okay. If everyone's a first row person, that's a problem I can't exactly solve. However, we need to be aware of it. So I'd like to be attentive to that if you'd help me. And those were all of my announcements, Lynn.
Great, great. Yes, I raised my hand. I should have raised both hands in terms of motion sickness, but I like motion sensitive better. I think that sounds, yeah. Don't you think, Marianne? Just sort of like not as the image is less offensive when you kind of think of it. Yeah. Good, good. And Sarah, how about you? Anything else as you're thinking about this, what we might need?
No, I can't think of it. You guys have covered so much. I can't think of anything, but just please reach out if you need anything or have any questions. I'm happy to assist. And I usually will turn on the World Strides app will have a chat feature, and that is usually turned on about 24 hours before departure. It's group chats, so it'll go to everyone, including people on my team, but you're always welcome to message there if you need anything as well.
Excellent, excellent. Great, great.
I do have one question. Are there is there ever any problems bringing in prescription medications to Turkey and Greece that are, prescribed to us in the US? I know that things vary by country, and the internet was confusing, and I thought maybe you'd have a faster answer.
That's a good question, and I wouldn't know because I don't know what prescription it is. I hear about that mostly in the Middle East, more like the UAE. I have not heard about it for Turkey and Greece, but you can also, I know that there are, like, I don't know what they call them, where you can, it's like a travel doctor that you can call and get advice for that kind of thing, or ask your primary care doctor.
I have a quick question about the app that you probably already went over because I was racing around and forgot about the call.
That's okay.
But there's 2 different apps for World Strides, one that's just plain and then one that's connections or something. Yeah, World Strides Connections. Is there one?
The one that you will use is just called World Strides.
Okay.
And
The little waves.
yeah.
Okay.
It looks like little birds kind of.
Mhm.
There you can download the app now, but you won't be able to see the itinerary until you're invited to it since it's private. But that's where you'll have everything, and you can use it on your phone or your computer, either one.
Awesome.
And thank you.
Nobody else was going a day early, right? I'm there by myself.
Well, George will be there. He
You would,
lives
I
in
guess.
Athens.
Is he in the
So,
WhatsApp?
yeah, he
Okay,
should be
good.
on the WhatsApp. And do you know if he is, Kelly? I realized I need to update mine. I know Jim is on. If not, yeah, if George is not on, I'll make sure that he is and make sure that he knows you're coming in. So at least you have, a point person that's there. Yeah. The next day, the 31st is he and Irene's anniversary. So we're going out for starting our trip with a group dinner, also on their anniversary. So it'll be fun. Yeah, I'll connect you all. Any other questions?
I don't think so. I'm all
right.
packed. Anybody else? I can't wait to get out the door.
Oh my gosh, you are like my husband's twin. He starts packing days and days ahead, whereas I'm sort of mentally thinking, I wonder if I have enough toothpaste. But I'm only mentally thinking that at this point. We haven't acted on it yet. Yeah, it's
No, that's my husband. He's going to South Africa at the same time, so we're going in opposite directions there. But yeah, he'll pack the day before.
yeah. Well, anyway, I always appreciate people like you because they're organized. And then, if I forget something, I'll be like, hey, Marianne, hey, Jim. Yeah, it's a thing. I'm sure your husband does that too with you. It's like, rely on you. That's awesome. Becky, yeah, we're doing just carry on. Yep.
Same
George was
here.
saying, take 2 pair of pants. Okay.
No.
It's, um, as Kelly has emphasized, and I want to reemphasize, please be comfortable. That's the goal, is to be comfortable. So, yep. Yep. Team carry on. I like that. Becky, doesn't need to be long, but the skirt needs to be below the knees. Like one of those, go to like, I don't know, Walmart, and they have the elastic band peasant, skirt that you just pull up on over. Yeah.
I missed the memo about the skirt. Was that also an earlier comment? It's in the
Yes, and it'll
attachments.
be in your, it's also on the packing list, but the big thing is, George, we kind of knew that. I knew that for Meteora, the, monasteries that we're going to, but also in the, um, when we walk into a church, slacks in a church can be a problem. So, but they don't care if there's a skirt over top. So it just,
Okay. So one you can
the
put in your
outline.
backpack, but goes over your leggings or something.
Yeah, no yoga pants at all in Greece.
What are yoga pants?
They're like the spandex things.
No spandex.
Yeah, no spandex. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think my own experience in Turkey is that I felt I really wanted to be much more covered up than most anywhere else I went. And so absolutely for sure no yoga. I mean, wearing my jeans is fine. We're not going into any churches in Turkey. Um,
So I have wide leg pants all the way to the ground.
no,
Those,
it's the rump. The outline of your bottom is the issue. That was true in Kenya as well. So it's that is just the thing. So yeah. And I think hopefully, Keith, you're taking notes for your wife on all this. Realize you don't need to show your picture, but yeah, anyway, make sure for all of that people know.
Yes, I am. I'm taking notes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Keith. Yeah, just so she's aware, because it's not something that I'm like Becky. I'll probably have to go out, not only buy toothpaste, but also just find a skirt that you may not pack to go home, right? It really will just be to cover. There were sometimes, like if you get like this really big rectangular cloth and you wrap it around and tie it on your waist, that could potentially work if you can't find anything else, but that's not that easy to pack either. So, yeah. And you'll probably in Greece, you will just want to keep it every day. Maybe not when we're in Athens, but. And by the way, also, we are going to church in Athens. The uh, the Greek evangelical community that George grew up in. We're going to have church with them on Sunday, and then in the afternoon, fly to Izmir. So I think that'll be really fun. So Sunday is worship day, not the first Sunday, but the second Sunday when we're in Athens, worship day, and nice lunch, and get a chance to fellowship with some of the people there in Athens. So I think it'll be fun. Yeah. Any other? Yeah.
Did he
Kristen?
say what the dress is for his church?
No, he did not. It's not the Orthodox sacred space, but I wonder if you just want to, I mean, I'm trying to think what I wore. I don't know, because I might have also, this is back in the day, 10 years ago, I went in the summer, so it was easy to pack like a sundress. Yeah. Thanks for asking that, Kirsten. Yeah. Any other questions?
What is the time difference
8 hours, I think.
from DC?
It's 7 to DC. So 8 to Houston.
Yep.
Although I don't know when daylight savings is.
For yeah, daylight savings is the Sunday that we're in Philippi.
Oh. So it'll
Oh.
change.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. I will just do then, Sarah, you are welcome to stay on. I was just going to run through a little bit of the site at Corinth to kind of get people excited. You're welcome to stay on or head off because you've probably just recently seen Corinth. Or is that what you guys did when you were in Greece? Or
We were in Athens and we went to Santorini to sit by the beach, which was great. I wish we could have had more time to go to all the places you were going. Seeing Mars Hill in Athens was like a moment that we will never forget. So
what did you like about it?
just it was the first time in our lives that we've been somewhere that someone from the Bible went to.
Yeah.
And just like knowing that the Apostle Paul had been there also we were reading the Bible, like standing there. So it was really cool. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys to have that experience as well.
Yeah. It is, I hope we have that time and again, and then be able to share. That's why, thank you for answering my rather nosy question.
Oh, no, not at all.
I do, I love to be, to hear how others experience it helps me
Yeah.
enjoy it even more. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to pop off, but safe travels to you all. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
All right. Can you all see my my screen? Is that good? Good, thank you, Roger. So I just thought I would, since she mentioned Mars Hill, this is Mars Hill that she was talking about. This is the Parthenon behind her. I don't know who she is. I just pulled this off the web. You kind of walk up these steps. It's not easy to get to, and then that's Mars Hill. And there's better steps, over here. And you look out, let's see. Yeah. Then this is more taken from where the Parthenon is. And you will then look down onto the Agora. And we're going to also be in the Agora here. This is taken not directly like from the from Mars Hill, but I hope that we'll be able to do a lesson here in this temple of Hephaestus. I don't know. I'll ask. I don't do Greek, Kirsten, after 7 o'clock, so my pronunciation is terrible here. But the Agora is huge. It's absolutely huge. Let's see if this, yeah, there you go. So you can see, we'll be up here, the Acropolis. This is where the Temple of Athena is. And then we will walk down from seeing the temples up here, and we kind of have to walk a bit of a ways. It's not difficult walking, but it just will take us a little bit of time, and then we'll enter into the Agora. And here, lots of different temples and kind of a reconstruction of a stoa that is really, really cool. So I think that's going to be pretty fun. This is then to kind of give you from another angle the Parthenon, where and this is the a second century theater by a fellow by the name of Atticus. But we kind of park down in here, kind of walk up through. You can see some of the paths here. Walk up to enter into the temple precinct through here, and then we have the Parthenon. So it's quite a large site, as you can see here. Yeah, so that is, yeah. Let me stop sharing here. Thoughts or questions about Athens? Okay.
Athens. Is it true that this is the first time there's been no construction going on at the Parthenon?
That's
Someone
what I heard. I was
I don't know if that's a fact, but that's kind of cool because there's always something under construction.
Yes, they had scaffolding. A friend of mine was just there a couple weeks ago and was saying that for the first time, what she heard is for the first time in 200 years, they don't have scaffolding around the Parthenon.
Wow.
I'd not known it for that long. One of the issues was, as I understand it, when the Nazis controlled Greece, they kept armaments there that went off. So there was a lot of damage in World War II. And let me just say, just so that you're aware, for us, we'll be looking at first century stuff and earlier, maybe a little bit later with the church. But the recent history of Greece, especially through World War II, was devastating. There was a lot of death from starvation. The Greek evangelical church experienced it just like all the other Greeks. So I just want you to know that. And then also, Greece was part of the Ottoman Empire for a while, so, or controlled that way. So, when at the end of World War I, I guess it was, um, they there was what the Turks call an exchange of populations, where the Turkish people in Greece went back to Turkey, and supposedly the Greek people from Turkey left to go back to Greece. So when we're in Turkey, that's how it will be talked about. But the Greeks talk about it and they'll use the term genocide before it became a common, now in the last 5 years or so, we use the term, I think, more frequently. But um, I I made such a faux pas when we were in Izmir, which is ancient Smyrna. And I was walking with both the Greek guide, Vula, and I forget the lovely guide from Turkey. I can't forget, I just can't remember her name. Anyway, we came up to the harbor and there's this magnificent uh, bronze statue, very elaborate. And I said, "Oh, that's beautiful. What is that?" And both of them got really silent. It's the Turkish memorial of driving the Greeks into the sea. So, yeah. So I wish I had known a little bit more of my history with that. But yeah, the last time I was in Turkey and then we went to Greece, the Turkish guide just kept talking about, nice exchange of population. And then as soon as we land and I was asking a question of our Greek guide, he's like, "Oh, you mean the genocide?" So very different stories of this time period. And, it's fresh. It's not 2,000 years ago. It's 40 or so years ago. But I also hadn't realized just how much Greece suffered hardship after World War II. So, um, yeah. So, feel free to ask George any of these questions. They're part of his uh, country's history, and he'd be happy to, talk with you about any of that stuff. All right. So, let's see if I can't do that. I have to share my screen and I will just try to walk you through, but let's see if I can, oops. Just walk you through No, I don't want that. Can you all see this okay? All right, so what we're going to pay attention to primarily in Corinth is the Corinth after 146. We will, because the Romans went in and conquered Corinth. It was during the time of the Roman Republic. They were trying to assert themselves away from Rome. Rome was in sort of expansion mode, and so they lost. So what we'll be looking at is going to be 2nd century BC, 1st century BC, and then forward, except for Apollo, the Temple of Apollo, which is classical Greek, about 500 BC. I have this inscription mentioned here, the Babius, because one of the things we see both in the Corinthian letters that Paul writes and also when we're there at Corinth is there was a lot of what we would call today self-promotion. I think that's one of the issues the Corinthians dealt with a lot, and they wanted Paul to promote himself better and to be a better speaker and all of that. So here's the remains of the base of a monument that Babius put up to, promote himself. We'll also see the Erastus inscription, and I think kind of goes back and forth in scholarship. Was this the Erastus that is mentioned in the biblical text? And, scholars are going to have different opinions on this, but it is perfectly plausible to assume that this is the Erastus that Paul also refers to. So we'll be taking a look at this. This gives you a feel where Athens and Corinth, it's about an hour-and-a-half drive from Athens. We'll be going, I think, on a Saturday, and so won't be a lot of traffic, which will be nice, and it's a lovely drive. And this just gives you a little, down here would be Cancrea on the Saronic Gulf, and then here the Gulf of Corinth. And there's the canal now that was done, I think maybe in the Napoleon period. Nero, way back in the day, had tried to create it and failed. And you'll see why in a moment. Okay, so it's because look at all that Nero would have to dig through. So this is the modern canal, pretty darn steep. And this just gives you a sense of how narrow it is. If I were on that ship, I'd be kind of sucking my stomach and making sure we didn't scratch the sides. We won't be seeing this. I don't think we have a chance to stop. And there's not much to see other than just about this stretch of road. But this is the road then, instead of having a canal, ships would offload in one port, put it on wagons, maybe pulled by mules or humans, just pushing, and go to the other side. So it's not a big, what's excavated is not that much, but it gives you a sense. You can see with that car at the top of the picture how wide the road is. And what I think is really cool is you can see the ancient ruts where the wagon wheels wore down the stones. So this is the city of Corinth. This is the bema, which is the judge's seat, if you will, where decisions were made. This is where Gallio would have spoken. Read that story in Acts 18. And then in the far distance is the Acra Corinth. And in Paul's day, there would have been some temples up here, but not a lot. And what's up here now is much more medieval fortifications. So we have the this map of the city. You can see where this is the bema that we just saw. This is Babius's monument to himself. This is the Temple of Apollo. This is the Lycaon Road. Will be back in here. Maybe there is maybe where the synagogue was. And off this map is where the Erastus inscription is. Yeah, and then we'll also be going through the museum. So this is what we'll be looking at. It gives you kind of, helps you to orient. So this is the road that goes down to the port and goes up into where the Bema is. Okay. The city would have been rebuilt by Julius Caesar in 44. So there's a lot of Latin overlay, even though it's a primary Greek city, of course. It's just, if we're looking on this street, I've just walked up the street a little bit and turned and taken a picture right over there. Or, sorry, we're walking up the street, and this next picture is me turning around and taking a picture of what we just walked past. Up here is the Temple of Apollo, where maybe 500, I think about 500, I think I'd said, BC. So this is really ancient. It's classical Greece, and then the rest will be the Hellenistic. We'll be seeing the Hellenistic ruins. All right, here we go. Lynn loves ruins. And then the Peyrene fountains, obviously what it would have looked like in Paul's day and what it looks like now. That's pretty cool. You can use your imagination and just picture the grandeur that would have been there when Paul was there. Fountains would be places for people to collect water, important water source. Yeah, these are not baths. And then here again is to locate you again, this is the Temple of Apollo. And this may be, or along here are shops. I like to think of this as something we could imagine maybe Paul and Priscilla and Aquila working from. This gives you a sense of how large this is related to this female figure there. So it's pretty good size. And here we have the Temple of Apollo. You can tell in part how old it is because it has the Doric capitals, which are very, very plain. Oh. So this kind of sits at the center of everything in Corinth. And there's just another shot, aerial shot, not from me, but this is kind of the back of that shop that I was telling you about. In the museum, which is a nice small museum, there'll be a number of, I think, really fascinating, interesting statues. This is Diana or Artemis, the huntress. We have these votive offerings, these clay figures, ears, eyes, other body parts, maybe for fertility, feet problems. Yeah, so these votive, or at least that's one theory, these clay objects that would be given, there was a Sclapion on the, an Acra Corinth, and you could take these items and pray that the god would, heal whatever it was, give me my sight back, that kind of thing. This is a statue of the Emperor Augustus as a young man. I don't know how old he was when this was done, but you can see very, very stylized in the classical Greek form. And the bust next to him is Nero. What's nice about this particular statue is that it's painted. So you get a chance to see that what we perceive as white marble statues really would be much more colorful. And this could be in someone's home, for example. Same with this mosaic with Dionysus in the in the center, the god of wine. There is a synagogue. We know that. Here's a relief that has menorahs. Menorahs are Jewish. That's one symbol we don't find in any pagan space. So we know there was a synagogue here. Of course, we know that also from the book of Acts. But this stone was reused, and so where it was found was not the actual synagogue of the first century. Okay. Bema, I've already kind of told you what that is. There, it gives you a little sense of this. And yeah, so Roman rule in Corinth would have been really, really important. Julius Caesar, as I said, reestablished it, resettled it. So you, like Philippi, although different in how they emerged as Roman, but they are both leaning strongly to Rome. There's the Erastus inscription. You almost can miss it, like it's just, as you can see there, sort of right in the weeds. And it's not easy to get to. This may be, and maybe they've excavated it more since I've taken these pictures, but probably a Odeon or a theater. Yeah. And always seeing the Aqua Corinth in the distance. We're not going to go up to the Aqua Corinth. You can drive up, bus up there, but yeah. So yeah, some of the beautiful mosaics. I mean, I think, boy, I wouldn't mind having this, something like this in my house. So yes, they have gods and goddesses. They really stress their pagan identity, but they also have still life and, fruits and birds. Here we have maybe a nymph playing instruments and, and flowers. I find this artwork really beautiful. And then one of the stories of the, myth that's being portrayed here. And yeah, this is interesting in my final minute here. These statues are, they think, were created without a head. And then when you bought them, your bust would be made in some sort of likeness of you, and you could just pop that right on the statue. Remember, I said that the Corinthians were really into self-promotion, and so the idea is that these statues, very formal poses, and then which spoke of your wealth and your social status, and then you make a head and put it on. All right. Here's just a little bit of the Aqua Corinth that I said we're not going to get up to, and you can see why. It's just basically a fortress. There's nothing up there that is pertinent for our time period, but it does give you a view of the surrounding landscape of Corinth. Many of these cities, if they grew to a certain size, they'd have to import food, and Corinth was one of them. Philippi, yes, but they, as you'll see, they're around a fertile plain to be able to grow things. Corinth, probably at different times, depending on the census that year, might have needed to import food. All right. Yeah.
Quick question, Lynn.
Yeah.
Just, I was curious as you're talking about Julius Caesar rebuilding Corinth, and comparing some to Philippi. Was Corinth considered a Roman colony similar, well, like Philippi was? So it didn't have the same status.
Correct.
Okay.
Philippi was unique in that way.
Yeah.
Corinth was conquered.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So very different, but Julius Caesar sort of reclaimed it, fixed it up. It was pretty devastated when Rome conquered it. And so it was still the Republic at that time. Then Julius Caesar, in asserting his own power, yeah, remade stuff. What else? What other questions? It's so exciting. I absolutely cannot wait. It, um, yeah, our hope and what we imagine will be possible is that you see a lot of this stuff, and then we also then have time for reflection. So I know Kelly had on the list to bring a prayer journal or um, however you do that, but please, I would encourage you to do that. We'll try to make space so that we can reflect and hear the Lord as we walk in the among the great cloud of witness. Yeah. Roger, would you mind praying for us as we close our evening?
Sure. Well, Father, we thank you so much for this incredible opportunity that you've given all of us to walk these historic sites. And it's just amazing how the gospel has continued on and we're able to go back. Would you bless every aspect of this trip, Lord, all of our safety, our health, but even let it be for each of us another opportunity to connect with you. Help us to experience a closeness with you as we endeavor on this road together. Bless our relationships with each other. Help us to find a bonding with each other and to learn from each other during this time. We commit this trip to you, Lord, and all the details going into it, and all the people have put so much into it to make it successful. We ask you to bless them in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Hey, bless you all. Thank you.
See you in
See you
Athens.
soon.
Woohoo.